The music goes on and on and on in the royal houses as we are celebrating this beautiful month of Africa, remembering her roots, looking back at our cultural history with its wealth. It is in the midst of this culture that we find our true identity. Royal houses have always remained as custodians of the greater culture, putting the community together, aligning the people together. I've never been happy to see the British government walking through Africa, destroying all monarchs that are there, but their monarch remains in place. But if you look very carefully, right now, the British monarch has been able to do the exploits that they have done to this end, because their royal houses have always been in place. Politics is prostitution. People come and go. But there is that stable house that remains there. And for the past 67 years plus, if I remember correctly, the Queen has been sitting on the chair, bringing stability to the greater British Empire. And you wonder why we run on this African thing of 5-year democracy, and we are swapping and changing, with very little impact in terms of messing up our entire African cultural space. There's one kingdom that has remained strong for the longest of time. Actually, in some writings, they actually say the last remaining monarch that is actually legitimately standing here in Africa. And I think that Somhlolo, together with the other forerunners of the greater Eswatini kingdom, in their negotiations with the greater British Empire, I think they were very smart in terms of retaining to themselves their royal house. And then the political system reports to the owners of the land, and we would not find a better guest for us today than I will introduce you, then you introduce us to Umkhulu, so that we can actually have the correct titles. But with me today we have Princess NQOBILE NKOSI, yes, all the way from Eswatini, and what an honor to have you know, in my space they call us load shading because of complexion. Now my yellow bones get it makes the studio a little bit more brighter, you know. Thank you very much for allowing Umkhulu to come and spend some time with us, and we also honor you for the amount of time that you have come to spend with us. And
no, thank you for allowing us both this opportunity to come here to speak and celebrate our culture in such a way. As you've duly noted, this is Ubam Mkhulwami, basically. He is family to me, and his name is Prince MTHUNZINI NKOSI, also known as NKOSI. Obviously, Prince in our language is called NKOSI. So NKOSI.
And I hear there's an organization that you are running locally. Maybe just take us through your greater work that you have done, and I can see lots of experience when the hair goes this gray and some of it starts falling off. You know, the man has walked the path, and just take us through maybe a quick history of your life, and particularly what you're doing right now as a chairperson of the cultural Swazi nation in South Africa.
Well, I'm born in what we used to call Eastern Transvaal in Swaziland. That was 1939. Then because of the development and then everything which was going on, my grandfather moved on to Volkras to Machason to Bethel to Balfour near Heidelberg. That's now in the Gauteng area. Yeah. Then I've been attended school at Balfour. Then I went to nearest town which had a high school, Charterstone High School in Niger.
Niger.
Yes, Niger. So after that, then I went to Johannesburg to go and look for a job.
Everyone, they go.
Like everyone.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Those were in the,
Yeah.
that was in the, these are the 50s,
Yeah.
50s, 60s, thereabouts.
So when you are from Johannesburg, you have to have a certain attire to show that you are from Johannesburg. You are
10 up
very-
thousands, you know.
yeah,
I remember in Zimbabwe, these guys were coming from Goli, we used to call them Inzula.
Yeah.
They were having these bicycles, like,
That's it.
you know those bicycles, the 3-speed bicycles.
Three-speed, yeah. So
Big wheels.
I would say rather, I will spend the rest of my time in my life in Johannesburg. But in 1976, during the uprising,
Yes,
I
yeah.
moved to Pretoria.
Okay.
That's where now I settled there. I was involved in the church work. Well, the Catholic Church. Then I must say that my involvement, it helped me to explore quite a lot of avenues. Because I went to Canada to go and study social development. And then I came back. Then I had some projects which were now meant to counter the apartheid system. We're trying to enable our black people to be self-sufficient, which was quite a very difficult thing. You know, people, they want to be employed and get money, nothing else. Yeah. But then I was involved there politically, then, you know, all went on. Well, once I in Soshangu there, I had some other sources, Makakula, Mtombeni. So we were looking at the situation, the behavior of the kids and everything. Then we said, now, what's really going on? Then we came up with a suggestion that, no, let us organize all the sources around here and whole of Gauteng so that these kids should be brought up in a proper way. We're trying to get the kinship system to work. Where a child is born, then he's brought up correctly by the parents, and then he must also know the relation between the mother, father, uncle, you know, on and on and on.
Family trees.
Yeah, family trees. So we went on there, then we said, look, let us get somebody to be our nduna. His job will be to organize sources. We spent our money, we went to Mpumalanga, got Umdane NKOSI there to come and install the nduna. We will call it what? It's not installing. It's just what about umbulala to, yeah. So the guy was there.
It was properly done.
Properly done. Then it was now clear to him that his job is to organize Swazi.
Mobilize the Swazi nation.
Yeah. So whenever we moved, we went to Springs, which was the stronghold of the Swazis those years because of Dr. Gama. Dr. Gama was Iliso Lenkosi, that's now the eye of the king during Sopuza. When there we saw all the cars, all Land Rovers which Sopuza gave to Dr. Gama to organize the Swazis. Because his aim, Sopuza, it was to get all the Swazis together. Now,
it was in Kumbule Springs lapho there was beko balapho Ngamani
Ngamani, yeah.
So we am ngiyake ngidlule ke lapho kwakukho.
Yeah, Springs balapho kuThabetse bonke. Yeah. So kukhona umkhambe embili, umkhambe uyabona all that in Siswati, but Ngamani they bane history yabo kabona.
Yeah.
But coming back now to Pretoria, where I stay, we were ruled by a commissioner, which was that time called a native commissioner. He was now the manager of the township. He was the magistrate. He was everything. And mind you, he was an ex-policeman. So you could, once if you suspect, you'll tell the security guys that, watch up this guy. Then you're in. So he organized what we were called the Bantustan system helping the government. He had some other sources, what. And then I was strongly against that. Because even today, when I'm involved in the Swazi activities, they say, but you were against us when we were organized by a white man to go to Nelspruit, and then they were introduced to the Bantustan. So their job, it was to represent the Bantustan in Soshanguve. Then I dismantled that altogether. It didn't work because they were Pedis, Tsongas, Xhosa.
Soshanguve, Masutu, the whole concoction there. It was a boiling pot.
So each and every one, they had offices. Now, to deal with the cases, they were supposed to be domestic cases or whatever it is. I remember one old lady came to me and said, but look, I've got a boy here, he smokes dacha and then I can't sleep. So I took him straight to the police station, went to the station commander, said, help this old lady, this is a problem. Then he called the sergeant, said, help these people. So when we went to the sergeant, then he pushed her to room 17. I found a guy sitting there, community leader or something. I said, who are you? I said to the sergeant, look, I came here to lay a charge against that guy. Now, why am I here?
Reporting to the same guy.
Yeah, there it was a big issue. And that time, the special branch police were on me. Even when I was overseas, they used to visit my family, asking where I am, although they knew where I was. Yeah.
Just to keep an eye on you.
Yeah, just to keep an eye on me.
Yeah.
But in any case, when me and Makakula, we started organizing, then we have one objective, that we want to maintain the Swazi culture.
In Gauteng.
The Swazi language, it has to be taught in schools, like other languages. But then we were really knocking against the wall.
Against the wall.
Yeah.
Because I mean, from the basic demographics that we have, to actually understand that the Swazi nation as a language and as a people are not bound by the political borders that the colonial system has actually put to isolate Swaziland and only Eswatini and only leave it as a small little mountain. The whole Swazi nation would start as close by as Mpumalanga here, which is actually
Johannesburg, in fact.
Johannesburg.
Because there is a house which belonged to Somhlot, King Sopus, in Johannesburg. That farm, they call it a Waterval Farm.
Waterval Farm.
Yeah. It's close to the place where they discovered gold in 1885.
So Somhlolo used to live in those years.
Yeah, that's why he had a wife there, because if this Mutu NKOSI, it means
Yes.
So there was that house. Yeah.
Wow. And this is quite interesting. And guys, be patient with me. I love stories. I was brought up by my grandfather. So when I begin to hear beautiful stories, I can just feel like sitting down, taking off my shoes, and enjoy these old connecting pieces together for us to understand exactly where we are. Over to you in a little while, just to tell us how do you plug into the organization that he is now doing, and what are some of the projects that you're now involved in?
Sure. Well, I think for me, I grew up in a place where, first of all, when I was born actually in KZN. Let's start there. However, my dad is actually from Vakastrom, which is in Mpumalanga. It's about an hour or so away from the Swazi border, if I'm not mistaken.
On the whole side?
Yes, more south. More south, near Bidrutif.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And umkhulu wami, which is obviously his Bamngani, he was also, he had lived or was brought up Epital. So after he got married, he went to, establish a home in Vakastrom. And then obviously when my dad got married, he decided, no, we're going to go to KZN. And then that's where I grew up. And for me, it's just sad to say that I didn't know my roots up until I was older. I was much older. Because obviously when you're being brought up in a certain, province, sometimes the culture leaves you and then you get influenced by other cultures, unfortunately. But with that being said, I made amends to that because I finally understood who I was.
And you traced back your roots?
I traced back my roots.
Take us a little bit. When you were tracing them, which route did you use? The Drakensberg or the Lukombo?
No, funny enough, I've got a lot of Abababumkodu who are still entrenched in culture. NKOSI being one of them.
Okay.
And also I've got others also, Etegwini, who are also based in Ukasela. Yes,
Yes.
So that's the person that I went to.
Okay.
In terms of our history, in terms of who I am, who we are. And I'm just like, but why you guys did not tell us about this?
Such flamboyance. When we come back after the break, we will explore the place and the correct place which culture plays in terms of putting a community together. Don't go away. We'll be back with you just after the break.
Tech Talk brought to you by Tamani Technologies and Systems. Tamani Technologies and Systems takes leadership in fourth industrial revolution. The whole world is facing a transformation. The revolution will be developed into the following stages: digitization, cyber security, Internet of Things, managed services, document management, and business applications. We provide business transformation and ICT solutions with presence in 13 African countries and 2 European countries. We are your leading partner in integrated platform providers, innovation leaders, standalone products, and innovation pace setters. Tamani Technologies and Systems, delivering value across continents.
Thank you and welcome back again. Welcome one, welcome all here on your program Sankofa. With me in studio today is Princess NQOBILE NKOSI and Prince MTHUNZINI NKOSI himself, representing the greater nation of Eswatini. And you were still telling me about your journey as to how you had to find yourself. And maybe to just tell us, how was your life before you knew who you were? And how are you now feeling in terms of now that you've established your roots and you know who you are, where you're coming from?
Yes, I must say, before I knew who I was very lost. Very lost in the fact that I had adopted so many Western beliefs, so many Western doings, way of doing things, even my language, you know, losing my language as well.
Uzakhuluma uLesotho, uzakwazi ukhuluma iSwati?
Kancane,
Yes.
like small. I can hear you.
The way you're talking English, someone can even say, I wonder.
No, because of the thing is as well, like I said, I went to Model C schools, should I say it rather. And these schools were very staunch in the way of teaching. Yeah. You know, I hear people saying everything. Everything. Just like, but what is this?
Just remain as a
yes,
okay.
yes. And funny enough, the schools that I went to, they only had 3 languages. They had English, had Afrikaans, or Zulu. Now, you had either a choice of going through to Afrikaans or Zulu. And for me, I always felt the thing that Zulu for me is actually not my mother tongue. It's actually Siswati. So at that point, there was no option of having Siswati eskoleni. Which for me, so it ended up knowing Zulu, yes, Afrikaans and English. So in my journey going back, obviously spoke to Abadala and basically found out who I actually was. And I'm like, but why have you been hiding all this information with us? We don't understand why we're not.
Give me 2 or 3 key issues which you would say these are distinguishing factors about a Swazi person.
In terms of from the Kingdom of Eswatini side or here?
Just for you to say, if you are a Swazi, for example, at least you need to be in this kind of a space. This is what is expected out of you.
Well, the one aspect that really stands out for me with Emaswati is the way they respect other people. Their humility. They respect a lot of people, and they respect their culture as well. They respect their majesties and the monarch, and they're just full of peace as well.
Peaceful
they don't.
People.
Yes, they're very.
When they swear, they will swear you off your.
I do not know anything about that.
No, this is a cliche on the street. If you mess them up, they can release quite a bit. They are calm in terms of spirit.
No, they're calm, but they're disciplined. Yes, they will discipline you. They'll put you in order. They will put you where you need to be put.
Yeah.
But they will also teach you. But after that, you learn.
Wonderful. Over to you, Mkulu. Take us through some of the key issues. What you would think in your old age now, looking at maybe the infrastructure, the governance systems that we are now having on the system. And you need to look in full reflection. What do you think has gone wrong with the society today? And what would be the key role that cultural education would actually play in formulating, in maintaining, in driving, and in educating a stable society, and stable African society?
Well, firstly, I must say, when NQOBILE joined me in this journey, I was so happy because I had somebody who supporting me. Because we were really lost looking for where, in the first place, who we are, where we are from, and our culture. That's what was the main thing which really brought me and NQOBILE together. And that's the main thing which pushed us down to Swaziland. But in any way, I was already there because I had one of the elders who was a grandfather, Planyeli, who was a great friend of Sopusa. He even took me to King Sopusa. Yeah, and then Sopusa was very pleased that, look, he's from Johannesburg. Those guys are hard workers. He must come back and pick up the country here. But that was early 70s. Yeah. But in any way, to be a Swazi, it's very, very important. In the first place, to be a Swazi, you have to have respect. You know, you have to know your neighbors. You have to do things correctly. Don't, interfere with other people. And then our language, Swazi language, it's not a language which, you can just burst in. We talk very slow. Softly.
Calm, yes.
Although, people say, to us it's not. It's just like a joke.
They say Swazis when they want to call something, they call it by its rightful name. You know, they don't. They don't look for a polite way around it.
They call it the way it is.
The way it is.
They don't go around that they respect other people. No. They call it just as it is. Yeah. So I had kids who attended school in Swaziland.
You send them to Swaziland for school?
Yes.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I was hoping that they would be okay in such a way. And why did I send the kids there? I wanted the birth certificates of the kids. Then when the birth certificates came out, they said, Kanyamazan, the homeland of the Swazi. I said, no, where's that place? They said, you are a Swazi, you don't belong here. So I threw them away.
Threw those birth certificates away?
Yeah. So those kids were registered under the surname of my wife, who was that time a colored. So coloreds were free to move wherever they want, you know, and all.
That's what in Laba?
No, here in South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So people had to do things to survive. You look even now, nowadays, we have surnames such as Olifants, surnames where people Jonasi, and for survival techniques. People actually ended up even changing their own names. And it's a shame that even after independence and after this whole liberation, some of them have not even found it important to finally go back and say, okay, we were using this surname as a survival tool. Now exactly what must we do to transform, translate ourselves and align ourselves with our culture?
So really, we started moving. I became the chairperson of that organization. It was registered according to South African standards. We said, look, we are paying tax here. We are also entitled for that money from the government to support us. We went to Springs, we organized, we did everything. And our aim was now to bring our king into South Africa to come and visit us as Swazis. Although, you know, Swaziland goes all the way here, it was just those boundaries which were put by the British people, which now cut off the Swazis that side. Most of the Swazis
actually on the South African
still trapped in here.
There are more Swazis in South Africa than they are in Swaziland.
Correct.
That's what
But when it comes to governing, I'm telling you, in Africa there is no government which has a constitution like Swaziland. Swaziland constitution, we've got Indlo, Bugazi, Nengwenyama.
There you go. And where is this patriarch story coming from, that Africans are just masculine, patriarch. I mean, look at this beautiful picture that entrenched in the culture. He's a king, but the king does not rule alone. He rules with his mother. And then Jovugazi is actually the senior advisor to the son.
And he's the person who's protecting the women.
She represents...
I had to now to go back now and said, look, I want to prove to everybody that I'm a Swazi. I had to go now deep into the Swazi culture. It's what we call Ukubutsega. I had to go near Butsega.
Ukubutsega is being collected, being gathered together. I'm just literate translation. I know there's more to it.
No.
It's going through the ritual.
They teach you that now you are no more a boy. You are a
so it's the rites of passage, sort of.
Yeah. How you should grow up, respect and everything, and then how to build your own home, respect, have kids, and then all that. Then they also give you a name there.
Okay.
I got that name, Fair Cake. Yeah. Which I was having spectacles on.
Okay.
So the guy said, but you can look very far.
Okay.
So it's Fair Cake in Africa.
Okay.
That's now my...
They gave you an Afrikaans name at Umutsega there.
Yeah,
okay, that's interesting. Our culture is also adapting sometimes. But in some cases also those names are like the joking, fun sort of names that pick up characteristics.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then the main thing is one, even today, me and my organization, we are still working very hard to bring our king back into his land.
Yes.
so that he must now see his people. His people must now receive him and respect him. Because at the moment, in South Africa, there's no respect. When we come to democracy, forget. Everybody's got a right. That's why, even we have a president today, they can call him by names and then he just keep quiet. Something which traditionally you can't do.
You can't do.
Yeah.
So actually, the royal language and the presence of royalty assists in instilling the cultural norms and respect. And whose child are you? And immediately someone is no longer addressing you.
Yes,
and they are looking for your parents. Even when you are misbehaving, you start looking around to say, I'm no longer representing myself.
Yes, but your
You
can't do something wrong because you'll be destroying your family.
Yes.
People start asking, how was he brought up? Yeah, that's why now we said, no, let us have a Swazi organization so that we must start now, instilling the culture among these young Swazis.
Yes.
They should respect even their neighbors who are even not Swazis, because here in South Africa, you've got a neighbor who's not you.
With different cultures.
Yeah.
Yes.
But our culture, to be honest, it's one of the best. And I still think Swaziland, that's the only country in Africa now which is still clinging to its culture.
Yes.
Tight. And actually, for that reason, you can maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Eswatini has remained as a spiritual vortex for the southern hemisphere.
Correct.
Because many of the South African community, even Botswana and Lesotho, immediately when people begin to trace their roots in terms of the healing or in terms of ancestral connection or in terms of traditional medicines and stuff like that, you will always hear some Swazi blood connection that happens to an extent that actually the Swazi nation has actually become the spiritual home of the greater South African community. They might want to contest that and argue with it, but tell me you will not meet 3 to 4 or 5 indigenous healers, as they call them, sangomas. You will not meet 3 to 4 to 5. And within those 3 to 4 to 5, if not 2 or 3 of them can actually identify with the Swazis.
That's it. They believe that everything traditionally from Swaziland, is when it comes to medicine, is one of the best. Why? Because the lifestyle of the Swazis, they respect and then do things in a proper way. Unlike this, in this present South Africa, where now anybody can be a witch doctor. He can take anything he gives you, because those are based on making money, that's all.
Correct. It's a social...
Yeah, that's it.
Social outlook.
Let me throw it at you a little bit. Take me through the reed dance, the famous umhlanga dance, which has always become a tourist attraction to the greater world. Cameras flicking, people taking pictures and all this. Tell me the sacredness of this ceremony vis-a-vis the commercialization of umhlanga as it is happening now.
Well, for me, as Zimbabwe, it is sad to see that, it has been commercialized and from a tourist element where it's actually not really understood properly. You get a lot of these media houses reporting incorrectly or reporting, say vulgar or false pretenses of what umhlanga really is. But umhlanga is basically an event where the maidens go to celebrate their chastity, as young maidens, and also just to pay homage to their majesties, but more so in Ndlovukati. So it's more of an 8-day event.
8 days.
But just to take you back though, a lot of people actually don't know there's actually 2 mhlangas. Reed dances. Actually 2 reed dances that we have in the Kingdom of Eswatini. The one is held, the big one that everyone knows about is the one that's held in MTHUNZINI, which is the residence of the Queen Mother.
Yes.
Ndlovukazi. And the other one happens about a week and a half later after the main one, in the Shiselweni region. So that happens then. But the main one that I normally go to, due to work purposes, I don't normally go to both because of work, is the one, the NQOBILE. So basically it's an 8-day event. Their Majesties make an announcement through Imvuna. The current Imvuna right now is Nontutuzo Subogo. And she makes an announcement through their Majesties, carries out their Majesties' wishes. And 8-day events, the girls come in, the maidens come in, and obviously you cannot have a child, you cannot be married, you need to be whole as a maiden, as a young maiden, to partake in this event. And yeah, so they come in, they get registered, get accommodated by graciously by their Majesties. It really is big because you get tens of thousands of girls coming in from all across, not just within the kingdom, but also within South Africa as well. Remember, as Bamkulu was saying, is that
I saw some Swedish girls also there, and some,
yes,
some right from Europe there.
Yes, we
also.
do have foreign tourists that come in actually and participate, which is lovely.
Which is beautiful.
And some of them actually not, some of them not afraid to actually, showcase, as well, which is lovely to see because they kind of then, that means they actually understand the purity of what Mhlanga actually stands for, which is celebrating your chastity as a maiden, and paying homage to their Majesties and more so for guys. So yeah, so then they come in, they get accommodated, and then from my understanding, we go and shuta. Shuta means we do the great walk to the Impesi farm. We get divided. Some of the little ones go to Bamsake farm.
Just close by.
Yes, just close by
and
for the little ones.
Stronger girls. How many kilometers roughly?
30 or so?
30 kilometers.
Yeah, 30 or so.
That's a real walk.
No. It's there. No, it's a lot.
That's a real walk. I mean, imagine you guys, you would be complaining of going 2, 3, 4 kilometers, 30 kilometers. And how many days does it take you to walk? So you walk there and you walk back? We walk
over, yes. So we walk there. In terms of walking back, from my understanding, we take obviously transport coming back.
Okay.
What will happen is, so we go there. It takes about, I think, 2 days that we walk. And then we start coming back at about Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, and then Friday we go to the residence, saying yes, we came back, all well, and a lot of the girls are then put in, these different vehicles, these trucks, and then along with their collected reeds that they've collected at the various farms.
But this is just modernizing. In the olden days, literally, I think they used to walk.
Yeah, well, of course, I'm sure they did.
Back.
Yes.
Your reflections on Mhlanga, and she's just sharing some stories there. Maybe 1 or 2 of them that you have attended, and maybe a possibility of you also in organizing a Mhlanga here in the Johannesburg area. If the king is coming, and if there's 2 now, one in NQOBILE, one in Shiselweni, maybe the 3rd one must be in Springs.
Oh, goodness. No, so Shiselweni one is still within, obviously, Eswatini. So
remember, we're talking Eswatini, political borders.
Oh, you're talking from that aspect.
If we are talking Eswatini as a bigger nation, maybe it could actually be a way of introducing the greater monarch himself to his people.
There are some other cultural activities.
Yes.
Like Mhlanga, she knows it very well.
Yes.
We, Tina Bilbuto, no, we don't mix with it.
Okay.
We've got our own activities.
Okay, take me through that one. That is interesting.
Well, we have one big one in NQOBILE.
NQOBILE.
Yeah, then when the king enjoy, the first fruit. But
first fruits.
Yeah. But then that is now how we really love them. The custom, the culture, custodian to do that. But it's quite a lot of ease for them. It's not for us.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, as long as it's NQOBILE, when everybody wants to go and celebrate NQOBILE, it ends up there.
But NQOBILE
that's
is
for
more,
military.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more.
But it's more of it signifies a national. It's a very sacred national prayer.
Yeah.
If not, it's probably the most important event of Eswatini, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, it's the beginning of the year, if I'm not mistaken, and it's actually the celebration of the first fruits and the harvest. And the king, by then, is he going into isolation or is coming back from isolation?
Well, see, the
Is it before? I'm trying to find out, does Inqola happen on his way out or on his return?
That's why I said it's only the elders who can really explain it. We us no, because he'll
Yes, correct. We need to respect correct. It's a very sacred event that we can't really discuss.
When you come back after the break, and I'll be picking up their brains here, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself here, talking to Prince MTHUNZINI NKOSI and our wonderful, wonderful princess, Mam NKOSI. Is it in Mpazima story, the NKOSI? How do you do your totems as the NKOSIs? It's Thakazelo, your totems.
No, in fact, we are Dlaminis.
We are Dlaminis.
We are Dlaminis.
Okay. Because I might want you to help me to clarify, because the South African NKOSIs will be saying the Mpazima and the other NKOSIs.
No, we are the Dlaminis.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
When you come back after the break, I will be having fun here with the royalties. Don't go away.
She's a casting. Wash up for something. Tumbegela. Usubule Valenta. Tumbegela. Usubule Valenta. Tumbegela. Usubule Valenta. Tumbegela. Usubule Valenta. Tumbegela. Usubule Valenta.
We're discussing sacred things here, sacred things that belong to a nation, and what is free for us to learn, we're going to be hearing from them, but what is sacred, we will keep it within the corridors. And I know some of these things, you can only experience them and know them when you get there. That's where the mystery and the secret is. Take me through the greater space of the Reed Dance Umhlanga, and what exactly are you doing with the young maidens when they come? All these thousands. Do you have evening story time? Do you have counseling sessions? Do you have practicing dancing? What exactly happens in this whole? I can see your face lighting up now. You know,
always light up when it comes to this event. So yes, Umhlanga is also a place where we teach our maidens, you know, the correct way of being a maiden, a correct way of being a girl, girl child, and, you know, grooming them into being a woman.
Which is almost Ubutseka is for the men, then Reed Dance is for the women.
Yes, correct. So it's more about, you know, teaching the young ladies to abstain from, you know, sexual intercourse, and more so as well to make sure that they do not, you know, engage in such until they actually get married, and also in terms of you know, HIV, trying to stop the HIV and AIDS, you know, pandemic as well. So we teach them a lot of life skills, what it is to be a maiden, and why you have to respect yourself as a young maiden, as a girl, and how much of your life can change with that one simple, stupid mistake, and rather just keeping your chastity, and why it's so important. And
so, who are the teachers there? The older women,
the elders,
who work with
the elders, yes, they are the elders. There are elders there that, you know, come in, and, you know, the elders that have come in with the other Mbali as well.
Okay. So each regiment sort of
each regiment has their own people. Correct, has their own people, and then obviously we have our practicing sessions as well.
I've always seen them with those very gracious,
very gracious. Yes, so we use those to ukitsa during Reed Dance. That happens after we come back on day 7 and 8.
Day 7 and 8.
6, 7, 8, yes.
Wow, wow.
Yes.
And I hear from Kulu here, the Ukubutseka. It's quite fascinating to me, because we are dealing right now with issues of domestic violence, GBV, and all these weird phenomena, which I don't want to call them. I don't want to just look at them superficially, because there are deep symptoms that are showing us of a cracking culture. There are frustrations that must be accounted for, both in terms of employment, in terms of money, in terms of relationships, and again, in terms of interpersonal relationships between husband and wife or girlfriend, etc. The language that people are using and knowing how, what you're talking about right now, for me, is not just about, I know this might sound very unpopular, I'm not justifying abuse by no means, but I think for survival, you would be a fool to shout your human rights until you are in a grave and someone has killed you. When do you know, under training, that it's now, this conversation is now turning into a violent conversation, so that you're actually able to preserve yourself. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense. Kuyashake lapha and umuntu lokhu amemeza azangena umlilo nishika afika ashake lapha, so kuyabizana amapolisa. But when we learn some of these skills, for me these are survival skills.
Correct. Yes.
Respect and etc. is managing each other so that we can grow in a respectable fashion. According to you, when you're looking at the modern young men now, modern young parent, young father who is out there, what could be your advice to the young men out there who are confronted with the modern women that they don't know what to do with?
Well, my advice would be only one: they must go back to their cultures, because, like as I was saying, it's where now they teach you how to do things. You can't assault or abuse a woman if you are from Butsege. You can't. You won't. Because you will respect your partner. And quite a lot of things which you have to do. And at the end of the whole thing, by Bitawuti, you have to make an oath that you'll always defend your country, your king. And even your family. That's the oath which you make. So you can't be violent. You can't, especially in the family. But now let us look at South Africa, which is now, multi-national, all that. It becomes a bit difficult. Yeah, because everybody goes to Johannesburg.
Yes.
Leaving everybody at home who are now well taught that, look, you have to behave like this. But when he comes here, he meets with other people, broad-born, then he loses his way. But now there's one thing I would really love, that people, they go back to their roots.
Yes, that's correct.
Meaning, let them come from the grazing.
That's it.
Give me one or two Swazi proverbs, beautiful Swazi proverbs, and I love wisdom in all its fraternities. Just maybe one or two Swazi proverbs, and maybe take us through what that proverb would mean.
No, there's one which is ingane ngakhali ifele embelekweni.
Okay.
That means now, if you don't voice something, you'll die there. But you always have to voice it.
Okay. So talk your problems.
Talk your problems.
Let's go through that proverb. Let's go through that problem. That proverb.
Yeah.
So it's saying, imngane engakhali, a child who does not cry, will usually die on their mother's back.
Because if there's something there, you have to cry.
You have to cry.
But if it doesn't, you'll die there.
So let's unpack it.
Yeah.
So this proverb is talking to the value of communication.
Yes.
That's it.
Voicing out your concerns.
Your concern.
And you're not voicing out your concerns because you're fighting.
Yes.
You are voicing out your concerns so that you can be heard.
Yes.
So it also speaks to the mother that when you hear the child crying,
Attend to the child.
Attend to the child. We can move this to a political space.
That's it.
We can move this to a community space. Because for me, proverbs become the house of knowledge, so that we actually have the solutions for dealing with our problems. Now, when you begin to see people burning towns, when you see people beginning to put tires on the road and putting etc., using that proverb, it's saying, ingane engakhali, iyofela embelekweni. Now here ingane iyakhala, then people are bringing guns and bringing shamboks and bringing tear gases to further beat them up because you're complaining and you're crying. So within the Swazi proverb that says ingane engakhali, teaches our leaders, you must learn to listen when people are raising concerns. And you also, who is crying, cry with the intention of being heard rather than intention of destroying. Did I interpret it correctly?
Yeah, correct. And then you have to be very vigilant to find out, is my child still alive?
Wow. You might be carrying a corpse.
That's it. Because the child is so quiet. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
Wow. Wow. Ingane engakhali, ifela embelekweni. You know a proverb? You know any Swazi proverb?
No, I don't, but I would like to just, state in terms of what Bamkulu said regarding going back to our cultures. Within our youth, it's just sad for me to see that not many are actually partaking as much as I would like them to. My thing, or my advice to them is, don't lose yourself in this Western culture that we see every single day. It's not who you are.
Wow.
And you really need to start finding who you are from a cultural perspective, because once you lose that, you've lost yourself completely.
Culture is actually the language of the spirit. Culture, that's where the chords of your existence are written. And
there's always a say that a man who doesn't have a culture is not a human being.
Not a human being. I want to just maybe get a small little turn to the left. So what is it with the Swazi man carrying a nobkiri?
Yeah, this is lingela.
Lingela.
That's right. Then these are which inkonyane.
Inkonyane.
And then this is Tebeshe.
Tebeshe.
Then
Umhelwane.
Umhelwane.
Yeah.
Sitwash.
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 Yeah. And then they know it as Ishweshwe, but Sitwash.
And then Lijobo.
Lijobo.
Then now, if there's one thing now, the identity. People know, if they see me like this, they know exactly that that's a Swazi.
That's a Swazi.
No, like any other group. Let's take it to Zulu. The way they dress,
you can tell.
The way they behave. People, they know that that's a Zulu. Don't go there, please.
Don't go there. I hear you.
But now when it comes to Swazi, it's just like that. Just like singing, or it's polite.
Polite. So gentle.
But you've highlighted imvunulo yetu as well. With imvunulo as well, there's certain techniques and ways of wearing imvunulo. It tells a story, basically. Even where you tie, your knot.
I could see before the studio started here.
Yes.
We were trying to get the correct way of tying this. Please put up your hands for me. I ended up also in and it must not too high. It must be somewhere.
Yes, it mustn't be on the shoulder.
And surprisingly enough, the great Zimbabwe, the Mbuyane Hunters and the Mutapa kingdoms, they actually used to dress up just like the greater Swazi culture.
I met a group in Zambia. They called it Ngoni. They said NKOSI. I said, now these people, their behavior is just like Swazis. I said, oh.
I was shocked there that day. Honestly, I was shocked to hear someone in Zambia singing that sacred song, and they have it in the greater Congo space, connecting the very Swazi culture with the greater Congo, Embo kingdoms. And this speaks of migrations.
We are from Embo.
Embo. Wow.
But remember also there are also other countries that actually still also have their own Ngwala as well. They still practice it as well, and that's why you'll probably find that connection spreading through, because it's still...
Because for me this is critical, to speak of African unity, cross-border. And this is where you discover that culture is a better currency. Culture is a better passport.
Yes.
Culture is a better identity.
Yes.
Because imagine at one time when those who are doing reed dance or Ingwala in Swaziland could combine with those that are doing Ingwala in Congo, those that are doing Ingwala in Zambia, and all of a sudden the African understanding of our timetable and our celebrations are beginning to come to unity together. For me, I had thought that organizations such as Africa Union, for example, under their cultural desk, who are really interested in terms of uniting Africans. These common areas of common interest, common participation, cultural integrations, which is already happening, traditional games, which are all over Africa, which actually combine us as a people.
So the main thing is one now, if you are an African, you must know where you are from, who you are, and what the main thing, your culture. Like if you go to Swaziland, your Konda, then they'll give you land, said that's your land, that's your field where you can plow and do everything. This, what they call is xenophobia, it's not there. It's just, the political thing which is going on and on, just like that. According to Swazis, anyone is welcome. Yeah,
let him booty bring your goat, bring your sheep.
Yeah. That's right. But then you can't conte Eswati. You can't.
You cannot bring your culture into this space. You
must just do like when you are in Rome, you must just do like the Romans.
What the Romans are doing.
That's the same thing.
And I love something about the Swazis. I love something about the Swazis where actually the king in some certain spaces and in some certain government offices and during certain festivals, the Europeans actually have to subdue themselves to the Swazi culture, instead of the Swazis subduing themselves to the European culture. To me, that was a killer.
That's the beauty of the Swazi.
That was a killer. Whereas right now, you find all these boys trying to come up with jacket and ties, but in some certain spaces, you'd find that the Swazi culture reigns supreme. In government offices, it's actually an official dress. You can walk up to a director of a company,
correct,
and you find him seated like this, with his computer and etc., and he's working. And that acceptance for me speaks of a victory of a nation over colonialism.
Correct. Yes.
Wow. My elders, one little song from Swaziland, just one song, is which we can remember. Anything that comes up to your mind, one small little Swati song. I'm a musician, remember, so I've always have fun.
Yo, I know Mhlanga ones, but my voice is a bit scratchy right now.
It's a bit scratchy.
Abalala bakhuluma ngathi abalali obandaba zezwe abalala bakhuluma ngathi abalali uboteka kuboteka. Okay, they're right there.
Yes, no, I'm shy. The blood is beginning to boil there. That kind
yes, you're going to go with me.
The beauty of the whole thing, she joined, she was looking for Imvela while she was young. That, for me, it was too late. Because I wouldn't go as your session number one. No.
It was too late.
Because I was already
at a certain age, yes.
No, but we understand colonialism actually did lots of harm. Lots of harm. And I think what would also be nice is to have the older people like yourselves, senior citizens, who have begun to put all this thing. One word for the African community, just in one sentence. What do you want to say to the Africans in your last parting shot?
I would really love them to stick to their culture.
Go back to your culture.
They must know where they are from. Yeah.
Go back, find your roots.
Your roots.
Your last parting words?
Yes, and within your roots, plant yourself like a tree. And when you're being told to move, stand firm in your culture.
Stand firm on your culture.
Yes.
With me tonight, it has been a wonderful, wonderful Swazi celebration, Swatini culture, with Princess Gugu. NQOBILE, NKOSI, and the Prince MTHUNZINI NKOSI representing the greater Swazi culture. During this month, we're going to be featuring all the various cultures, the vendors, the paddies, the tsongas, everybody. This is a spree where we're putting all of them together. And me, your host, Maponga J. Chigaramboko Garamashamba Huda Chira Nawana Wanji Makumwana Musende Washano Chibu Chiteza Chinotezera Kuri Pedu no Tambanacho. Tism Tambori Paro Wana Chigarama Matanda Nohor. Chiramba Kusera Wida Media so same Ponango Kubone Mashakumagara. Until we see you again, stay away from trouble. Don't do what I would do. But if you decide to do it better.
David.